Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla's Generation 3 platform is coming. Yesterday, we had two releases that came out from Tesla. One was the one that pretty much everyone saw first, everyone was waiting for. That was the production and delivery numbers. We went over those last night. If you want to check that recap, you can check out my latest video on that yesterday. But the other piece of information, and it was crazy because I got two emails that came over, and if you guys are not on the list for the emails, you can sign up on the investor relations page for Tesla to get yourself an email for whenever they send over anything like this. You can get an email for all of the releases that they have with all their press releases, all the earnings, all these production and delivery numbers, any Form 4 filings that anybody places. So any of that information you can get in an email. So I got two emails and I overlooked one. I knew that I was waiting for the production and delivery numbers. So I was just refreshing the investor relations page waiting for that. But the second email happened to be about Investor Day that is coming up on March 1st of this year. At that event, they are going to be unveiling the Generation 3 platform. What is this platform? We know that, I don't know if it was Martin Viecha or Franz von Holzhausen who was discussing how they're really excited about the next generation that is coming up, the next generation platform. Is that platform going to be for the robotaxi? Maybe the robotaxi and the Cybervan all in one? Maybe the Cybertruck is its the platform that is also going to take on the robotaxi and the van? Or maybe this is going to be Project Highland. Maybe this is going to be that structural pack that we were all talking about. It's going to be a single casting, and this is what's going to be able to bring costs down of all the vehicles. Or maybe this is going to be the platform that's going to be used for the compact car or that sub $30,000 vehicle. Maybe it's all one. So you guys can let me know in the comments below what your speculations are for this, but seeing the next generation platform coming up is going to be vital for Tesla this year. This is something we didn't even talk about previously. Thinking about all the different catalysts that we have coming up this year for Tesla, we know that it's going to be a challenging year for headwinds. We just got the EV tax credit. We know that that's going to be a challenge in and of itself. We know that Tesla's most likely going to have to drop prices this year, which is probably a good thing. Tesla has wanted to do it anyway, so this is just moving in that direction and kind of forcing that hand. But we're facing some headwinds there. We're facing macro turbulence like crazy. We're going into what we are going to be seeing as that deeper recession, most likely in this year. We're seeing stock prices are probably still going to be coming down for at least the next couple of months until the Fed decides to stop raising interest rates. So seeing some good catalysts coming behind this, you have to take a look at what is Tesla doing fundamentally through all of this, and what is that going to mean when we come out of this bear market and this recession. So we already knew the Cybertruck was coming. We know that Tesla is working on the 4680 ramps. We know that Tesla is growing energy. FSD version 11 should be wide released very soon. All of these different things, and we never even thought about a third generation platform unveiling this year. That's going to be a big catalyst because that's going to give us insight as to what the company could be doing in the future. Maybe that could affect some of these growth numbers that we are seeing. So to go back to that, taking a lot of information in from James Stevenson and a lot of other people over on Twitter, just discussing all of these things, one of the questions that I had posed is, what does Tesla need to achieve for year-over-year compound growth to achieve that 20 million vehicles by 2030? Well, as of right now, the answer is 41%. So while Tesla did say that averaged out over the next decade, they would need to achieve 50% to reach that 20 million vehicles delivered, we are looking at an actual right now, they need to achieve 41% growth every single year. So this right now, they hit 40% this past year with all of the headwinds. Don't forget Shanghai was closed for 6 weeks back in Q2. If that was open, they would have achieved closer to that 45% mark. Now, with all of that said, we have to look ahead and go forward. So a more difficult year this year is in turn most likely going to lower expectations. And I know we've had a lot of discussions about, expectations are just this arbitrary number, but you have to remember that those expectations are derived from what Tesla set out and said their goals were. So that's kind of where it's all set. And, the last few years, Tesla has overachieved with all of those numbers. Recently, they've just been underachieving. Headwinds they're facing, it's normal stuff, but we also have to remember that Tesla still grew 40% year over year. By the way, Honda is down 33% year over year. We really need to put things into perspective. You start looking at Ford, Ford's sales have been dropping year over year since 2016. So it's not like it's just COVID that caused their sales to come down. They've been coming down since 2016. Meanwhile, Tesla has been going up and up faster every single year. So you got to put things into perspective to see where Tesla truly is growing. And that's what I wanted to look at. And so seeing that Tesla is growing more than everyone else, now we have perhaps what could be lowered expectations, and we could be going into some more time, maybe not this year, maybe the end of this year, where Tesla starts to overachieve again. Dave Lee brought up a great point in his most recent video as well, saying that Tesla has always been great on over-delivering on their expectations. Perhaps now it's time for Tesla to lower those. We know now, based on these numbers, 41% year-over-year growth is going to get them to that 20 million. So even if they said, hey, our now growth expectation is going to be 40% year-over-year growth, that would end up working out well. They can then overachieve those numbers. Don't know how Tesla's going to do it. We did not get any guidance numbers whatsoever when they gave out the production and delivery numbers yesterday. We will get that on the Q4 earnings call. So we're just awaiting those numbers, but not sure where we're going to go from here. Maybe Tesla does end up lowering those numbers, especially with the headwinds that we're going to face this year. You know, if Tesla says, hey, we're looking at a 40% year-over-year growth this year, but of course we know that things are up in the air with us going into difficult economic times. As long as they set that foundation, they set that bar lower, it's easier to overachieve. Set expectations low, underpromise, overdeliver. That is what the magic is. That's how Tesla did so well the last few years. But these last couple of quarters has been the opposite. So obviously there's been a lot of headwinds, things that, we've had like 7 black swan events, 7 once-in-a-lifetime events that have happened over this past year. It happens. So Tesla got through that and they still did it very well, but they didn't meet the expectations that they had initially set for themselves. And can you blame them? No, you really can't, but there's other things that they can do to set those expectations a little bit lower so that it makes it a little bit easier to overachieve. And when it comes to Tesla setting these expectations, I think it's one of those things where, Elon and Tesla set the bar at 50% to push their entire company forward. So it's kind of like, if they set the bar at 41%, maybe they'd only come in at 38%. But if they set the bar at 50%, pushing up to get to that 41% makes it easier because they were shooting for the stars, hoping to land on Mars. And that's the kind of mentality that's going to take us to the moon, to Mars, and beyond. And just to make a quick note, because I'm sure some of you have already thought it, I'm not saying that Tesla setting that bar at 50% was setting the bar low. That is setting the bar high. Even setting the bar at 40% year-over-year growth is setting the bar high. This is why I see Tesla being the greatest company in the world for at least the next 10 years, because that bar is set so high. And when they underachieve a bar that's set that high, everybody thinks that it's not doing well. Meanwhile, they're actually crushing everyone else. And so looking at the stock price itself, we knew that we were most likely going to be seeing a bit of red in the stock price today. The entire market is green, but of course Tesla is underperforming. They are down almost 4% at the time of this recording. We'll see how we trade. Again, I said it yesterday, the level below us of support is that 109 to 110 level. We'll see if we pull down to there. If we do, that would be about a 10% drop on the day. We have seen 11% drops over this past month. Some of that was due to Elon selling. Sometimes it was because there was tax loss harvesting. There were margin calls going on. I don't know if we're going to fall that far today, but if we do fall, I think that support level will end up holding us up. I don't think we are going to drop below that. And one other thing to pay attention to with the stock price movements today are we do have that gap that goes down to 112. So do we pull down far enough to fill that gap and maybe settle around that level of support at that 110? Or do we just kind of come down, maybe fill that gap and bounce back up? Again, just something to pay attention to, but we do have that gap down to 112. And again, with all of the tax loss harvesting that's been going on, there may not be a lot of buyers that come back in right away. You have to remember that most of them need to wait 30 days, and the majority of that selling happened at the end of the month. I think that was done intentionally because a lot of these people were waiting to get through earnings, which is going to be on January 25th, and then the FOMC meeting, which is going to be on February 1st. So just awaiting for all of that information and clarity to come through gives them that opportunity to say, all right, now we're past all of these questions that we have, we can then go put money back in. So we may see a very strong push in the stock price in February just because we've gotten through all of this information. I may start to do a little swing trading in my IRA because right now maybe I sell off because we might see a little more selling going on, just because I don't think we have a lot of big buyers coming back in over the next few weeks. We've got a lot of uncertainty, a lot of information we still need to get in, and I could be entirely wrong on this. Last year, I thought we were going to hit mid-January and we were going to push and not sell off until March. I was way wrong. We pushed up to mid-January and then came crashing down after that. So, take my words with a grain of salt, and my words can easily change shortly because these are the kind of times where we need to be agile and be on our feet. It's good to have a plan and stick to it, but if you see something that requires you to change your plan, you really should do it. You've got to be agile, you've got to be realistic with what your expectations are. And right now I'm expecting us to see maybe a pullback in the stock between now and earnings. Probably not as steep as we saw it most recently in December, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of heavy buyers coming back in for probably another month. Again, maybe I'm wrong, hopefully I'm wrong, but we shall see how this month plays out. And one other thing I wanted to bring up is something about, investing in Tesla. I'm 64% in right now in my portfolio, but I do have, obviously cash elsewhere for my real estate, lots of other things that are going on for me. And one of the things that I look at is these people who go and they're all in on Tesla. One of the questions I've always asked is, well, where is their money coming from? Having all of your money in Tesla, good for you. I'm more of a diversified kind of guy. In my portfolio, I'll have the majority in Tesla, but I'm kind of like, I want to be diverse, and I'm looking for places that can generate more cash so I can buy more Tesla stock. My full-time job does pay me relatively well, but I still have other bills to pay. I'm trying to invest back into my business. I'm investing back into this channel. So for me, I'm like, I only have so much that I can invest. I'm $25 a day, which I consider to be significant. So if I'm doing $25 a day and have some cash on the side and then add little bits extra as we dip down, how can I increase that? How are these people out there? And some of you guys in the comments, you tell me how much you're adding, and I think that's absolutely awesome, but where does that money come from? For some people, maybe you've just been investing for a long time, you sold some stocks here and there, you had a big cash pile, and you're adding, and that's awesome. For somebody like me, I need cash flow generation. Well, I've been talking about QYLD as my dividend stock, especially in times like this where returns on growth stocks are non-existent. They're big negatives, as a matter of fact. So for me, being able to get some returns and some cash back in a dividend is awesome. And so in the comments yesterday, Robert Smith had mentioned JEPQ. This is a great ETF that pays up to 19% in dividends on a quarterly basis. This is an amazing one to be in. I was looking at it, has all the top tech names. It's got Tesla in there, Apple, Microsoft, and all of these companies right now are beaten down quite heavily. So you can get growth as well as big dividend returns and still have money getting invested into Tesla along the way. So if you're one who does want to be a little more diversified and you're looking to get some dividends out of this for some more cash flow coming in, JEPQ may be one to take a look at for you. I personally am going to start adding to that. So Robert, thank you for that tip on that one. So I'm going to be adding to it. I am going to DCA in because if we are going into a deeper recession in this year, I do think the stock market still has a little ways to pull down. So all of these big tech names may end up coming down further. But either way, we've come down significantly, so we could see some very nice growth in this over the course of the next few years and beyond. So thank you, that was a huge tip. So if you guys want to take a look at that one, it is JEPQ. And this week we are going to be having Tesla Herbert on the channel for the first time, kicking off this year with a new guest, awesome guy. If you guys don't subscribe to his channel, I recommend it. We are looking to have a lot of new guests on the channel this year, a lot of the same old guests that we had before. Lots and lots of great people out in the community. If you guys have any recommendations for me to get on here, feel free to send them over. This is still a smaller channel, but I would love to have some bigger names on here as well. And I have no problems reaching out to them if they are available and willing to come on here. So just throw out some recommendations in the comments below, and I'll take a look at that and add them to the list. We do have Alexandra Tesla Boomer Mama. She is going to be on here on February 13th as well. Those are the first two lined up for the year, and there are plenty more to come. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.